Hello, Adam Cook from GodIsAGeek.com, and you know that because there's a thing at the bottom of the screen that shows you that I am here, also joined by Chris White. How are you, Chris, all right?
I'm good, man. Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. Especially because we're going to get to talk about something very exciting.
Well, yes, as well as that thingy on the bottom of the screen that, you know, for those in the know, is called a lower third, you are also seeing a broader picture, which is Resident Evil 2 Remake. Now, we did a little video on this before, and we've had articles before, because you went and played it actually a while ago now, and you played about, I wouldn't even say it was an hour, was it? You got to play like two 20-minute slices, wasn't it?
Yeah, the same 20 minutes twice.
Right, but you have now played nearly 4 hours of the game, which is out next month at the time of recording. So, apart from the obvious, you know, I'll get out of the way and say I'm insanely jealous, Chris, how is this? What do you think so far? I mean, it's weird to preview 4 hours of a game, but what did you play? What was it like? What do you think?
So it was about two-ish hours of each kind of campaign. People that know Resident Evil know that it's Leon and Claire.
Yeah.
So I played, the last time I played was with Leon, but obviously it's changed a bit now. It was a different location. Well, it was partly the same, partly not. But anyway, the game itself is incredible. Like Resident Evil 2, when you were growing up with this, as you were, Adam, I'm sure lots of people watching know exactly the ins and outs of this game. They know how good it was back then. And to play it now would seem maybe outdated. Well, this is completely revamped in every possible way. Like the visuals are incredible. The gameplay is smooth. It's not difficult. It's just how you remember. Obviously, without the tank controls, like it's very similar to Resident Evil 4. But just in general, I adore it. I think the difficulty which came up on the other video we did, the other preview I did.
Well, I was going to ask you that actually, because in that video it was hard. Like you know, there was not a lot of health, not a lot of bullets. You died. You know, it seemed, and we weren't sure at the time. And I guess we're still not certain. But like, how does? Obviously there'll be a link to the description. A link in the description to that video. But
yeah, it's more the bullet sponges that some of the zombies were, which I was surprised about. Like there's one part in this, I can't remember where it was now, but it's like a weird boiler room basement type place where there was about 4 or 5 zombies in total that came and tried to take me out, and I had about 20 bullets in total. And one of the zombies, like I gave him about 6 headshots in a row, finally took him down, but then he got back up again, so it took another 3 bullets just for him. So it's survival horror back to its truest kind of form, and it is difficult. And there are a lot of different zombies around that seem to take up quite a lot of bullets to kill. But again, I don't know what difficulty it was on. I mean, some people will thrive on this. It's very good. Like, but it did. I mean, this is an early part of the game, really.
But that's what I was going to ask you. Like, the thing is I'm guessing you're not starting from scratch, so you're kind of being dumped into a save file they've created. I'm guessing.
Yes.
And the thing is, part of like a resi game is how much inventory management you do, and like if you are. You know, if you're good with your bullets and your ammo, you can have a save file where you've got loads of them. And I just wonder if it's so difficult to know with this kind of game. And I think especially since people are going to be so interested and desperate to know the nuance of all those things, it's kind of weird to not be able to say if it's hard or not still, right?
Yeah. I mean, the inventory management, it was difficult. It was hard to try and, because obviously you pick up like quest items, whether it's a crank for a mechanism or you find a shotgun, your herbs. Like I'm constantly having to mix my herbs just to find space for them.
Yeah, that's like the old games, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's what it is. I think it is exactly kind of the same in terms of inventory management as the old games, because they're not changing it. They're just tweaking it or adding bits to it, and they add kind of new rooms or new like nuances in the puzzles themselves, so they're not how you remember them, they're slightly different. So that kind of stuff's changing, and clearly the visuals are incredible, so that's changed. But and it feels very similar, but then it reminds me of Crash, where Crash Bandicoot, I loved that as a kid, but when I played it now, like that's the same game, but it's ridiculously tough. So I don't know if it's kind of like that, because it's been a long time, obviously, since I played it, and maybe we're just used to constant save points and, you know, that kind of thing. But I love playing it, and it's weird how it makes you feel like back playing it in the olden days, like with a tyrant, because in this game the tyrant is terrifying. It's like running away from the xenomorph in Alien Isolation. It's that kind of feel to it. You don't know when he's coming, and
I sort of wanted to get into this anyway, because obviously last time you played as Leon, and obviously this time you got to play as Claire. And that's where Mr. Tyrant appears.
So Claire, like instantly from the starting bit, I had a like a grenade launch, like incendiary grenade launcher.
Yep.
And whilst Leon was kind of like a few zombies here and there, the real threat for Claire was like you start off, you enter a room and there's 2 lickers in there.
Oh dear.
So instantly I'm like on the back foot, like trying to take them out, and then you encounter the tyrant, and he's just relentless. Like you can run away from him, but then you make, like it happened to me. Like I ran away from him. About 20 minutes later, in one location, I heard some footsteps. Assumed it was a tyrant, and they were getting louder and louder. And then all of a sudden, you walked into this building, and he stood behind this fallen part of the environment, like this kind of concrete. He lifts it up and then starts chasing you again. So I mean, there's only so many like grenades you can throw at him to knock him off his feet, but he doesn't die. He keeps coming back. So that was terrifying.
The only thing it does, don't get me wrong, I'm with you, it looks terrifying, but there's part of me that thinks the sort of design for this new game kind of makes him look like a detective.
Oh, it's weird. Yeah,
like with his trench coat, and
he does.
He kind of looks like a detective who's seen, you know, I've covered Borscht, you know, almost Dead Rising, like, and you know, he's got a burnt face, because it's still terrifying because of the size, and I'm guessing like with headphones on in a dark room, but some of the shots I've seen, maybe.
No, you're right, but the sound design is excellent. Like the bit where he pops up is like the rain's falling, and you're still hearing the groans of distant zombies, and then what the helicopter crash basically is near there where that helicopter goes down and it's on fire, and the sound's amazing. The visuals are obviously incredible. If you've seen them, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's good. So it's really good so far, and I'm looking forward to see if that goes through the whole game. And
what can you tell us about, like, obviously? Can you tell us other stuff? There are a list of things we aren't allowed to talk about.
I can tell you what's there. I can't like tell you where, you know, why or how they come to be, such as the alligator.
Yeah,
you know exactly what that is if you played the original. Ada Wong's there.
Okay.
In a classic attire, the red dress. And there's like the chap who you meet in the store who's got a little girl. That scene's actually really good. That's quite harrowing. That was kind of right at the start of my playthrough. So like seeing that, it was like, wow, this they really have kind of upped it. And that's one of the things with it. The voice acting and the acting itself is actually, it surpassed the cheesiness of Resident Evil of old, and they've made it feel kind of actually dramatic and quite serious. And that one particular scene was excellent. So there's a lot of good stuff here.
So in a world where, like, next year, you know, there's the chance, we don't know release dates, but there's games like potentially The Last of Us Part 2. I mean, there's no confirmation, but potentially The Last of Us, potentially Ghost of Tsushima, you know, and then very early in the year, you know, literally next month, Resident Evil 2 Remake. You've played... I'd actually say you've played a really good chunk of this. You know, you've played well over 4 hours of this game now. Yeah, thanks to 2 different play sessions with Capcom. Where are we sitting like now? Like, you know, I mean, I know where I am because it's one of my favourite games of all time. The series is one of my favourite series of all time. I feel like we've waited a very long time for this, and every time I look at the videos that, you know, you come back with, it just jaw dropping and it looks amazing. But of course, it's all in the playing. So, you know, you're the one here, you're the one previewing, you're the one with the unique, you know, that you've actually played a lot of it. Where does it sit right now in terms of 2019 games?
I think it's got the potential to be up there. I mean, if the games that are coming out now are so advanced, like it's a different world to Resident Evil 2. Like it's very different from how it used to be. But I think it's still an excellent game, and they've done a great job with it. And I think it kind of does what survival horror games claim to do in this kind of time. It genuinely, you are surviving. You have very limited supplies. You can't just go around shooting everything like some games. You've got a lot in your arsenal. You have basically nothing. You're just a cop who doesn't have the kind of ammo and the stuff there. It's a different game, and it's kind of it's a challenge. And but regardless of that, I think in 2019 Resident Evil 2 will definitely be in Game of the Year list. I think if it continues, if it continues like with this, because I did play that time, but there's a hell of a lot in both of these, because you've got 2 playthroughs, and there was other stuff, like you saw Sherry Birkin, and you know what's coming, and if they can deliver what I've seen on stuff I remember from the old game, and there's so much more, I think it could be excellent. And I don't think it's just a love letter to fans that have played it before. I think it's very acceptable for new people who have never had a chance to come and play it, because it does feel like a brand new game. It doesn't feel like just a remake or a rehash or anything like that, or a remaster. It feels like a brand new game, and even if Resident Evil 2 never existed back in the day and this was just a new game, it's going to impress a lot of people, because it's just that atmosphere that it brings to you. It's like games like Alien Isolation have done so well. This does it excellently too.
Well, you can go over to godisgeek.com for more. Chris has got some written words. This is just kind of an accompaniment to the written words, to show some of the gameplay, to give some kind of off-the-cuff thoughts. So before you hit that comment about why didn't you write it all down? Well, it's because this is just a chat between 2 friends, 2 colleagues, talking over some footage of a game. That's what this is. But, yes, godisgeek.com for all your gaming needs. Chris, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And we'll see you in the next video, chaps. Bye-bye.